Hello my friends! If you're new here, my name is Rachel and welcome to the channel, and if you are returning, hi, welcome back. It's so nice to see you again. Today's video is going to be very different than my usual uploads because today we are officially going to be starting an island touring series here on the channel, which I'm so excited about. I can't wait to go through and look at your guys' islands. I do have a form that you can fill out down below in the description box of all of my videos if you have a finished island that you think that I would enjoy walking through. Of course, I won't be able to get to every island. I have some in mind that I want to tour from some of my friends and things like that, but if I start getting a lot of entries, who knows how quickly I'll be able to get through all of them. Maybe in the future when we start doing live streams, I can also tour some islands on some streams and things like that. But yeah, feel free to leave your island down below. But regardless, I am so excited to start doing this. I've never actually toured an island before, so I only vaguely know the process of how to like properly go about doing a tour on YouTube, so I do apologize if I make any mistakes or get a little bit goofy in this video because I have no idea what I'm doing, honestly. But without further ado, let's go tour Wormwood. Alright, so before we start walking around, we're just going to take a quick moment to look at the map for the island so that we can see the villagers as well as getting an overall feel for the layout of everything. As we can see here, we have our island rep, which is me from 3 years ago, which is so crazy because I look completely different now. Back then I used to have long brown hair, but I have cut it and I've been dyeing it black for a pretty long time now, so it's just so crazy to see how I used to design my island rep. We also have a second villager living on the island, and this is my partner. He has a house on Wormwood. I don't think it's decorated like whatsoever because I ran out of time. I had a friend at the time who ran a YouTube channel and she wanted to tour Wormwood on her channel, so I had to get the island finished, and I don't think he had enough time to decorate his house, but that's okay. It's just so cute to see him on the island as well because he also looks completely different. We've both just like cut our hair short and just grown so much as people, so it's really interesting to see how we used to look back then. But on terms of the actual villagers that we have on Wormwood, as you can see here, we have Molly, who is such a classic cottagecore pick. I have a lot of really run-of-the-mill classic cottagecore villagers living on Wormwood, but I loved having these villagers. This was back before treasure islands existed, so all of these villagers were either found on Nook Miles Islands or through 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎, because I was building this island at like the height of �𝓃𝓎, so it was just like such a crazy different time going through and having bidding wars and buying villagers for hundreds upon hundreds of Nook Miles tickets. It was a crazy time. I honestly kind of miss those �𝓃𝓎𝓏 days, but also I don't because I would spend hours on �𝓃𝓎𝓏. But we have Molly, who I just love. Of course we have 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎 because 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃 has been a day one stan for me. I have him on here, and this is the island that actually kind of like made me fall in love with 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃, so of course we had to feature him on Pottsfield as well. I would love to have 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃 on every single island. I don't think that that's something that I'm going to make happen because I am kind of particular about my villagers fitting an aesthetic, but at the same time just know that I love 𝒷𝓃𝓃 to death, and I have loved him since day one because that's just my boy. We also have Eric, who is such a classic pick. He's so cute. I don't know if I would have him on a cottagecore themed island in the future. He just reads more winter themed for me because he is more of like a reindeer in my eyes than a deer, but I do really like Eric. I think he's very cute. We also have Dobby, of course, who is very classic. He's one of my favorite cranky villagers. I love when Animal Crossing goes through and designs their cranky villagers to look a bit older because I feel like it just helps give so much variation from the usual cute chibi style that a lot of the villagers have, so I feel like Dobby's character design is just so like iconic. We also have Bubbles, who might be an interesting pick for an island like this, but I really like Bubbles. I think she's so cute. I've had her on different towns on Animal Crossing in the past, like New Leaf and City Folk, and so when I came across her on a Nook Miles island, I grabbed her because I thought she was very cute. I also have 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎, who is our sisterly villager on the island. I feel like I've mentioned this in a video in the past, but when I go through and make my islands, I try to make sure that I have one of every personality type if I'm able to, as well as trying to make sure that I have a variation of the villager species, so that way not everybody looks the same. and 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎 is one of the few sisterly villagers that I actually like in the game. It's really hard when it comes to sisterly and smug villagers because not only are they the smallest pool of personality types, like there's only a handful of villagers in those personalities, but the designs of those characters are also kind of crazy. So 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎 is one of the few that I think is actually really cute. We also, of course, have Maple, who is yet again another classic. I think she is so stinking cute. I would love to have Maple on a future island because this is the only time I've ever had her, and I have so many ideas for builds that I could give her on a future island. But I love, love, love Maple. She is adorable. We also have Shep as our smug villager. So Shep is one of the few smugs that I also like. I think like him and Marshall and Lionel are the only smug villagers that I really like. I put a question mark on the end of that because I honestly can't remember all the smug villagers, but I think Shep is super cute. I would love to also have him on a future island. I love his color scheme and I love how cute his little fringe is. Next up we have Pecan as our snooty villager. She was an interesting choice because as you can see I had a color theme going on here with my villagers and she definitely stands out compared to them. But I, like I said, was wanting to have one of every single personality type, so I chose to go with Pecan, which I think she's also really, really cute. I think she would fit really well on like a 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎 island. And last but not least, we have Buzz as our second cranky villager, and I just love Buzz. I wanted to put him on Pottsfield, but I did not find him quick enough, so instead he is just going to be immortalized in Wormwood. And with all of that done, that is the map, so we can go ahead and actually start walking through the island. Alright, so let's go ahead and go down to the entrance area right here. As you can see, of course, this entire island I think takes place in the morning time, very early morning. But the entrance over here is just a little quiet entrance spot, very classic cottagecore. We have a little pond right here with a waterfall, some barrels and things like that. Another thing to keep in mind with this island is that this is pre-2.0, so we do not have any really pretty 2.0 items in this island, but I think that regardless, it still looks really, really cute. I'm just gonna pop a little squat here so we can chat really quick, because I also need to mention to you guys that I uploaded this island before I really understood how dream addresses worked, so I don't have any tools for getting around this island, and there are some spots that require ladders to actually get to, so I do apologize. There will be some areas in this little tour that we won't be able to actually access, but I think regardless, this area is so stinking cute. I love this little like stepping stone pathway that we have. I think some of these stones we actually are using on Pottsfield, which is really cool to see that I have codes that I just tend to gravitate towards. I also have right here a little bird bath, which I love this stone code underneath. I think it looks so pretty. If we keep heading, I love this little two-way waterfall pond situation we have going on. I think that's so cute. We have a lot of white cosmos right here. I don't know why I just filled that area up with cosmos. Honestly, I probably just let it become overgrown knowing me, but we just have a really cute little cliff situation. I knew that I wanted this entrance to be very closed in. I feel like if you're ever struggling with working with a small entrance, closing it in like this and really emphasizing how small it is can help you with your sight lines and things. Resident services is very close to the entrance on this island, so closing things in like this I just felt like was a good way to have a separation of space. But if we continue going, we have two inclines that meet up against each other, and we're just going to go ahead and go straight over here. This is going to be Bubbles' house, I believe, and she has the fashion hobby, I think, so I just wanted to give her her own little like clothing station. This is of course a great example of how I used to decorate. It's very minimal. I didn't really understand how to decorate necessarily, but I still think this area is super cute. I love these little design code dresses. I think that they're adorable, and this is also before we were able to update exteriors and interiors, so I think Bubbles' original house fits very well into this landscape. Now, if we keep going down, you can see that I have decorated all of my beaches. It's very minimal, but they are decorated. We gave Bubbles her own little pond over here because she is a hippo, so I feel like it made sense to put her near the water. I love this situation going on right here with these 3 bushes right next to each other. I can't remember if we had hedges yet in the game or not. I think we did, but this was just easier for me to get. But still, if we head down to the beach, we can see that I gave Bubbles her own little painting spot. I was obsessed with giving villagers little painting areas, so that's kind of how I decided to decorate her very sparse beach. If we keep going though, we can see there's just lots of flowers all over the place. That was definitely one of my favorite ways to try and decorate on the island, was just going through and placing a bunch of flowers. We have a really cute little seating area right here. I wanted to make it so you could actually walk through. If I was decorating a spot like this now, I would probably put a little picnic code underneath here and move things a bit closer, but at least you can actually like sit down and get a good view of the space, see what we have going on here. I think it's cute. There's a lot of repetition going on with my codes, and of course, like, I had no idea how to decorate beaches, so it's very minimal, but it honestly has a great appeal to it. It almost reminds me of the Normcore islands that we all started out with in this game, so I think it has like just such a cute little like simplistic charm to it. But if we head back, we can go view the left side or the right side of the island. If we head on over, of course, I have waterfalls all over the place because I love having waterfalls. It is a romance affair that started the second I got the waterscaping tool. I've just been making waterfalls left and right. But if we head down this main pathway, we can head over here. I don't know why I put the statue here. I honestly could not tell you. I think it looks kind of cool though, but I probably wouldn't do something like this nowadays. But still, I love this waterscaping though. Like, it's so pretty having all of these ponds and waterfalls around. And of course, we have Teddy's house right here. Oh my goodness. So I gave Teddy his own little pond as well. Teddy also, of course, has his workout equipment. It's honestly very similar to how I decorated things on the island currently that we have, so this is so cute to see that I gave him similar items. But oh my goodness, we have Shep over here. Hello! Oh, have we met? Lil Bear, I'm sure. Welcome to the fabulous Wormwood, dreamer. What are these like terms that I gave him? I think Teddy started calling me Lil Bear, and then everyone on the island started calling me Lil Bear. I don't know, but it's kind of cute. If we head back to the beaches, it's very similar to how things were decorated on the other beach. All of the villagers on Wormwood are just hanging out over here. We have Eric, we have Pecan, we have Shep. We also have this adorable little picnic area. I'm gonna have to push Eric out of the way to go look at it, but look at this beautiful little spot. I love this code. Like, it's very romantic, very coastal. I don't know who is studying like their algebra homework right here. Could not be me because I hate math, but that's okay. This is still such a cute little spot. We have a little sewing box right here. I love this little area. This is adorable. I still definitely love picnics. They were something that I learned how to do on this island, and I've just been doing them ever since. I love me a good picnic. Now, as you can see here, we have my villager right here. Let's see what she has to say. I love worms. Okay, yep, I mean, it was true back then, and it's true now. I do love worms. If I see a worm on the side of the road, I'm picking it up, to be completely honest. But I love my little outfit. It's so cute to see what I'm wearing because I still have this same style nowadays with the darker like clothing, and we have the same glasses on. It's kind of like giving me double vision seeing the two of us here together. Like, this is so crazy, but it's so cute. Oh my goodness. We have another cliff up here. We also have the lighthouse up top, which I really like. I was obsessed with putting my lighthouse up on my peninsula as much as possible, but of course we can't actually view it because it's way too high up, but that's okay. Let's see if we can get out of here. Behind Teddy's house here, we just have a really minimal little forested area, and then we can head up to another beach that we have in this spot right here. I tended to gravitate more towards white and green flowers, it looks like, on my beaches, but if we head all the way up, I believe my beach ends right here on a little river mouth. And over here, this pathway leads into resident services and a little cafe area. I loved making this little coffee spot. As you can see, I've been a coffee lover since day one. This was before we had like stacked bags, and this might have even been before the espresso machine. So I had to take a cushion and put a coffee code on it and use the classic coffee grinder. But this area is so cute. It's like a little like Nook Bucks over here, like Tom Nook's little Starbucks offshoot. I think it's so cute. We also have a little seating area down here where you can hang out and drink some of your coffee. Let's get a cute little look-see of this spot. I think this is adorable. Oh, I love it. It's once again just has like such a classic charm to it for the older islands that we all used to build. I think it could be really fun to try and rebuild Wormwood as closely as possible. Maybe that's something that we could try and do in the future. But if we head on over, of course, we have a newspaper stand, getting flashbacks from my resident services build over on Pottsfield. This is actually the same exact newspaper that I use on Pottsfield. I just use the antique version of it, which is so funny to see. But we also, of course, have a little river and some trees. But if we head on over, of course, we have resident services down and over here. I loved my placement of resident services in this area. You can see that I just decorated behind resident services with a ton of cosmos and trees to try and make everything look very grown in. And if we head up here, we can see one of my favorite spots in this whole island. We have a flower garden right here, and if we head on over, we have yet another painting station. I thought it looked really cool how this picture kind of matches with the scene that we're looking out at. If we actually try and look at everything, we can see that there's like the trees off in the distance and the cliffside and the water. So I really like how this little painting area turned out. If we head down, we have a little butter churning station near the river. Love to see it. And the stuff over here isn't necessarily accessible, but that's not a problem because there's really not much going on except for some flowers. And I don't know why I have a manhole cover on the grass. We're not going to talk about that. But if we head over here, I believe this is where Molly's house is located. I gave her a little well as well as a pond because of course she is a duck villager, so I thought she would enjoy having a little pond. I think Molly has the nature hobby, so I gave her some fish as well. Like maybe she fishes in her little pond and she likes to study the fish that she catches. I also gave her her own little seat so that she could sit in the shade of this tree and maybe read some books. She also has a little beehive over there. I was obsessed with the beekeeping item when I was building this island, but we will actually head down and over. Oh, there's Molly. Hello. She's so cute. I love Molly so much. The duck villagers are some of my favorites. I know that they're not everyone's favorite because they can look a little silly, but there's just so many cute duck villagers like Molly and Pom Pom and Joey. They're adorable. But we have a little Riverside area right here where you can just have a little lookout for what we have going on. My camera angles are a little funky in this video. I do apologize. I'm still trying to figure out how to kind of format this video. But we have a little wedding scene up there. I don't think we can actually reach that. I apologize, but we will try to get a better look of it. So if we head over, we have Nook's Cranny right here. Just a little spot. I didn't really decorate Nook's too much because I wasn't sure how to decorate it. This is another spot we can't reach, but this is right above Bubbles' house. Bubbles' house is down here, and I just have a little forested area up there with another flower garden and some more terraforming. Now if we head over here, you can see that we have a little picnic spot with the fortune cookie cart. I was very much struggling with decorating this area. I remember vividly trying to figure out what I wanted to do in this spot and the spot next to Nook's Cranny. So yeah, it's definitely very sparse. It's interesting seeing just how many tiles I'm leaving open. Like over here, there's literally nothing right here, which is so crazy because I could never leave empty spaces nowadays. Like I feel like I have to fill everything, and it's mostly because that's how I enjoy decorating. I like there to be a lot of clutter and a lot of stuff going on. It is nice though to finally walk around on an island that has zero lag. But if we head over this bridge, this is where we have our wedding area. Once again, you can't really see everything because there's no way to get up here, sadly, but I still really like how this area turned out. I think it's so pretty and the lighting is gorgeous at this time of night. I guess technically it's morning, but we can head next to the river. We have some little leaf piles. I believe this is Chris, my partner. Let's see what he has to say. You'll love to see it. You love to see it. We also have 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎 sisters right here, and they have a little sewing area because I love to give little sewing areas to the 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎 sisters. I did something very similar on 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓃𝓎, but I love how like closed in this is. It feels like a little front yard, which is super cute. They have some design codes on display. We can head on over. We have a flower garden and a little seating area. This is once again just very simply decorated. I tried to not go too overboard. I seem to gravitate towards flowers and empty spaces. If there's an empty spot, I just kind of like let the flowers take over, which I feel like does have a very good appeal to it. Over here is Pecan's house, I believe, and her house is also supposed to be fashion themed. A lot of the female villagers tend to have the fashion hobby, so I gave her a spinning wheel as well as some clothing. It's very interesting that I decided to leave this table empty. Some of the areas on this island look very incomplete, but at the time I was very proud of this. Not that I'm still not currently proud. It's definitely very interesting to see this island compared to my current designing style. I would kind of relate it to if you're an artist and you look at a sketch from 2010 and it is 2023 and your art looks completely different. There's almost like a nostalgia of looking at your past self and being proud of how far you've come. I definitely feel that way looking at Wormwood. Now, this is another spot that we can't get to, but I gave the 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎 sisters another little area to work on some clothes. And I love these design codes for the clothes. I think that they're so cute. I would love to find these and wear these on 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎. But if we head over this little bridge, we have Dobby's house right next to the campsite. Of course, like I said, this was before we were able to update villagers' exteriors, so I tried to give him a little bit of a Japanese themed yard, but I didn't want to go too overboard with it, so I gave him a little cricket because I love the cage that the cricket comes in. I think it looks really cool. I love when Animal Crossing makes the cages and like aquariums different for the different animals. But he has his own little well, and he has a little table over here where he can write because, of course, I think Dobby has the education hobby, if I'm correct, and his house is designed to look like a library, so I think Dobby's supposed to be like a writer. Now over here we have the campsite. Once again, very minimal. I just put a little area to do some cooking. And this is actually also before cooking was introduced into the game, so there was like no food items. I have a little reading area. Now up here is yet another spot that we can't get to, but you can kind of sort of see what we have going on here. It's like a little pottery area, I believe. Yeah, we have a little pottery area, which I think is super cute. I would love to do a pottery area on a future island, but of course you can't really see what's going on here, which is so sad. If I could go back in time and tell my past self one thing, it would be that you have to put tools on the island if you want people to actually be able to use them. But that's pretty much it for this top area, I believe. But yeah, there's just more terraforming and things. If we head back down and go over, we can see the last part of the left side of this island. Heading down, we have our museum. So here's our museum. I love, love, love this area. I would love to do something similar to this in my, not necessarily my current island, but in a future one that we work on. I think that this is so cool. I love the statues. I love the waterfalls that are kind of like sitting off to the side and closing in the museum. I think this area is gorgeous. The little butterfly fluttering around, I think it looks so good. It's very hard to find space for museums on an island, so I love that little build. Now if we head on up, we can see what we have going on behind the museum. I have a little like public park area where you can sit and relax. There's also a little telephone box if you need to make some calls, I guess. But we can head on over. Now I can't remember whose house this is, so let's go ahead and take a look at the map and see who we have right here. I believe this is Shep. Yes, this is Shep's house, and I think Shep actually has the education hobby, which is surprising. I feel like he has the music hobby, but this is decorated for more of an education hobby, so I gave him a bookcase, and I gave him a little area to work on some writing or something. I have a little study area back here, which I think turned out so cute. This area is adorable. I love having the actual picnic blanket being used on top of this wooden plank pathing. But this is just such a cute little spot. Now we can kind of squish our way through to get back here. This was one of the areas that we couldn't necessarily access, but I just used a little Stonehenge. I love this item. I think it's so cool. But we can make our way back. Kind of go off-road a little bit. But we can scooch our way through and go over here to Maple's house. Now, of course, I had to put some teddy bears outside of Maple's house, which I think just looks so cute. I also gave Maple some flower gardens, and she has her own little river. If we hop over the river here, I believe, yes, I gave her a little beekeeping area because, of course, she is a bear, so I thought she would want to have a spot to collect her own honey. So I gave her a little flower garden as well as a little bee box. Now over here we have a decoy duck. I had a couple in this build and I definitely would have put something underneath these ducks, but at least you can know that my love for these decoy ducks has been since day one as well. Now if we head back over, we can just come down here and follow this pathway. This area is so pretty. I love how this terraforming turned out. And I love this tree stump. I need to utilize tree stumps more often in the game. I believe in New Leaf you could actually put items on top of tree stumps, and some tree stumps when you would cut them down would actually have designs in the rings, and I wish that they would have brought that over to New Horizons. But if we head on over, we have another picnic area. Of course, when in doubt, add a picnic. If we head up top, I believe this is Eric's house, and Eric also has the nature hobby. Of course, the lazy villagers love to talk about bugs, so I gave him his own collection of bugs over here. He also has a flower garden that he can tend to on either side of his house. He has his own waterfalls as well. Heading back down, this is pretty much the last area over on this side of the island. We have our beach, which is very similar to the other beaches. Really not much going on. We have a little bit of a eating area, I guess, over here. I didn't add too much to this spot, but it's still pretty cute. Now, I also decorated out the dock. I love this little area. I love that design code on the Zen cushions. This was also before Cap'n was put into the game, so there is no Cap'n hanging out here. If we keep going though, of course we have to add a little laundry spot because no cottagecore island is complete without including a little laundry area. So I just have this cute little spot that you can hang out in. If we head up top, I believe there's one last little spot up here. This area is a little museum study location, I guess. We have some fossils here, a microscope on top of a desk, so maybe someone could come and do some studying, who knows. But this is still a very cute area nonetheless. Now we're gonna head back to resident services because we have one more area of the island to look at. Alright, so we've made it back to resident services, which means we are just going to head on over really quick, and we're gonna finally take this path upwards. Up here we have our last couple of villagers. Off to the right here we have Pashmina's house. Now Pashmina has the music hobby, so I gave her her own little music area where she can hang out and do some singing. If we go and check out her beach area, it's very similar to my usuals, but I also gave her her own little painting spot. I love this painting. I think it's Ophelia in the water. I am not entirely sure, but I love this painting in real life too. I think that it's so gorgeous. So I just put this little area right here for her to work on her painting. If we head on up, I have a little fishing area up here with some fishing rods, some drying racks, and of course had to showcase the horse mackerel and the sea bass because those are two of the most annoying fish to catch in Animal Crossing because they show up so much. But if we head back down and over, we can just see that 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎 has her own little flower garden in front of her house. And off to the side here, we have our first pumpkin patch. I was so excited when pumpkins were added to the game. So this is the first ever use I had of pumpkins. As you can tell, it's very different from the pumpkin patch that we built on Pottsfield. So you can see here the perfect example of what my designing style used to be versus what it has evolved into. There's nothing wrong with designing in this style, by the way. I just think that it's interesting to see a kind of progression of my skills over time. So seeing this, just know that there is always room for improvement. Even in my current style, there's room for improvement, and that no matter what, the more decorating that you do, the better you will get at it. If we head off to the side here, this belonged to Buzz, so that was Buzz's little pumpkin patch. Buzz also has the nature hobby, so I gave him his own little pond, a flower garden, a spot to do his laundry near the water, as well as a little area for some fish. So he has, I believe, a saddled bichir with a dace, and then he has the snapping turtle. I love the snapping turtle. I think it's so cute that it actually gets to walk around on its own, or I guess like not be confined to an enclosure. I also gave Buzz a little trophy, like maybe he is really into fishing and so he likes to do fishing tournaments or something. But he lives next to a forest that has a little DIY station. We will head down and, or I guess up and over really quick before we go to the top, because I believe there's a little pathway that we can take. I'm trying to remember how to take it, that you can actually go through and get to a hidden part of the island from Buzz's house. I think we go down and over actually, yes. So if we take this little pathway along the riverside, I have these stepping stones to bring you over to an apple orchard, which there is a second way to get to the apple orchard, but I like having this little secret path. So we have an apple orchard. We also have a little flower garden up top. We can take a moment to just appreciate things and take in the views in this area. I think that this spot is so pretty. Chris is trapped inside this little fenced area, which I think is really funny. He's hanging out in the apple orchard. He's having a good time. But yeah, I liked adding this little like wildflower meadow up top, and I decided to go through and include a little pathway over to the secret beach, I believe. Or no, this is just a little rocky area. This is another little kind of study station, scientific area with some sea creatures along a riverside, and you can see some houses up top. We will get to those in a little bit, but I think if we head over to the other side, we can get to the secret beach, which I don't think is as secret as it should be on this island. But we take this pathway down and you can see we have our secret beach over here. Very minimal once again on the designs, but I love also using the seaweed as an actual placed item. This can give you a good second view of the little pottery area. This is the spot that we couldn't see quite as much, but this is the other half of the pottery area, which I think is so cute. But if we head down and back over, we can go through and see the last part of Wormwood. So if we take this path up and over, we can see the villager houses that we have. Here is Chris's house. Now, he did not decorate his interior, so we will not be looking at the interior. He also has some mail that he needs to check, but he went through and chose the outside of his house to be in this design, which honestly I love. I love the black brick. I think it's so pretty. But we can hop on over and see some of the terraforming that we have going on over here. Once again, nothing too crazy, but still very beautiful. If we take this staggered stone path back here, I made this spot as a little area for Chris and I to spend time in. So Chris has always very much appreciated stargazing and looking up at the stars, and he's always talked about getting his own telescope so that he could look at the stars and the planets. So I gave him his own little telescope here. I also made a little writing area for me right here. I've mentioned in previous videos that I love to write. I've been a writer my entire life, and so going through and adding a little typewriter with a marked up manuscript was a little just ode to us and our personalities and our interests. This is kind of supposed to be a little date lookout spot, which I think is so cute. But if we head over, we can see my house, which I love this design. I think it's so pretty. It's very cottagecore. It kind of matches my dress a little bit, which I love. But as you can see, I gave myself my own little pumpkin patch so that way I could have some pumpkins. Pashmina is my neighbor right down there. If we head over, I have a little gardening station because I love to garden in real life. So I just gave myself a bonsai table. And last but not least, we have my house, which is not fully decorated, so I will be skipping out on a walkthrough of the house. But that is pretty much it for this entire area and pretty much the entire island. Alright, so here we are at Resident Services. We have gone through and looked at everything that Wormwood has to offer, and it was just such a fun little blast from the past. I hope that you guys enjoyed looking through my first design style compared to what my design style is nowadays. I would love to hear your thoughts on how much my designing has changed over time. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this first island tour. I do apologize for any weird camera angles or weird cuts because I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out how to do island tours, but I can't wait to tour some of your islands in the future. Be sure to fill out the Google form down below if you would like me to take a look at your island. And I'm still trying to decide if I want these to be weekly uploads or if island tours will be every other week. Haven't entirely decided, but nonetheless, I do hope that you guys enjoyed how everything looked. Of course, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you so much. Of course, be sure to remember to like this video, as well as subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified of all of my future uploads, especially if you want to be notified of Sunday's speed build that will be coming up. And of course, leave a comment. Let me know what build here you would like to see me recreate on a future island, if there was any build on Wormwood that you really especially liked. But nonetheless, thank you guys so much for joining me on this tour, and I will see you again soon.